He sat alone in his car, hands gripping the steering wheel so tight his knuckles turned white. The wedding was over. The music had stopped. The guests had gone home. But Michael couldn't shake the image burned into his mind, the one moment that didn't make sense. His wife, Sarah, laughing with her maid of honor, Emily, as they slipped into a car together and drove off into the night. Not toward their hotel, not toward home, somewhere else. And now, at 2 in the morning, he found himself following them down empty streets, his heart pounding in his chest, every instinct screaming that something was terribly, terribly wrong. What he was about to discover would shatter everything he thought he knew about the woman he married, about trust, about the people we think we can count on. Because sometimes the greatest betrayals come wrapped in the most beautiful lies. And sometimes, the truth is far more devastating than any secret. Why would they leave together in the middle of the night? What were they hiding from him? Michael's mind raced through every possibility, each one worse than the last. He watched their car turn down a quiet residential street. The kind of neighborhood where everyone knows everyone, where secrets don't stay buried for long. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah. "Baby, Emily and I are just grabbing some air. Be back soon. Love you." But if that was true, why did his gut tell him otherwise? Why did Emily keep looking over her shoulder before they got in the car? Why did Sarah's smile seem forced when she kissed him goodbye? He pulled over half a block behind them, watching as they parked in front of a small house with a single light glowing in the window. And then they went inside. Together. Without looking back. Michael had known Sarah for 3 years. They met at a coffee shop on a rainy Tuesday morning when she accidentally grabbed his order, and he pretended not to notice because her laugh was the most genuine thing he'd heard in months. She was a nurse at the children's hospital, the kind of person who remembered the names of every patient's stuffed animal and stayed late to read bedtime stories. Emily had been Sarah's best friend since college, the quieter one. Always in the background, but fiercely protective. She was a lawyer, sharp and calculating in court, but warm and thoughtful with the people she loved. Michael had always admired their friendship, the way they could communicate with just a glance, finish each other's sentences, share secrets he wasn't part of. He never felt jealous. He felt grateful that Sarah had someone like Emily, someone who would always have her back. The wedding had been perfect, small and intimate, just 50 people in a garden at sunset. Sarah wore her grandmother's pearls. Emily gave a toast that made everyone cry. Michael's vows promised forever, and when Sarah said, "I do," he believed with every fiber of his being that nothing could ever come between them. But now, sitting in his car in the dark, watching that house with the single light burning, he wasn't sure of anything anymore. His phone buzzed again. His best friend, David. "How's married life, brother?" Michael didn't respond. How could he explain that less than 12 hours into his marriage, he was already questioning everything? Before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you. And if you're new here, click on the subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. Michael got out of the car. His legs felt heavy, like he was moving through water. Every step toward that house felt like a betrayal of his own trust, but he couldn't stop. The street was silent except for the distant hum of traffic and the sound of his own breathing. He reached the front porch. Through the window, he could see shadows moving, hear muffled voices. He should knock. He should call out. But something held him back. Instead, he moved around to the side of the house where a window stood partially open, curtains billowing slightly in the night breeze. And that's when he heard it. Sarah's voice, thick with emotion. "I can't keep doing this, Emily. It's killing me." Michael's heart stopped. Emily's response was softer, harder to make out. "You have to. Just a little longer." He can't know. Not yet. Not yet. No what? Michael pressed closer to the window, his mind spiraling through every terrible possibility. An affair? A lie? Some secret life he never suspected? He heard Sarah crying now, the kind of deep, broken sobs that come from somewhere beyond sadness. He deserves to know the truth. He deserves to make his own choice. Emily's voice grew firmer. And what if he walks away? What if telling him destroys everything you've built? Sometimes love means protecting people from the truth. Michael felt sick. His whole body went cold. He should leave. He should burst through the door. He should do something other than stand there like a coward, listening to his wife confess to hiding something so terrible she was crying on their wedding night. But his feet wouldn't move. If this story has your heart racing, comment. I'm still watching. Let's see who's truly following till the end. Michael backed away from the window, his vision blurring. He made it to his car and sat there for what felt like hours, but was probably only minutes. His phone kept buzzing. Messages from family, friends posting wedding photos. Everyone celebrating the happiest day of his life while he sat alone in the dark, wondering if his marriage was already over. He thought about Sarah's face when she said her vows. The way her hand trembled in his. The way she looked at him like he was the only person in the world. Had it all been a performance? He thought about Emily, always so careful with her words, always watching. Had she been covering for Sarah this whole time? He wanted to drive away, to pretend he'd never followed them, to wake up tomorrow and ask Sarah directly what was going on. But he knew he couldn't. Not now. Not after what he'd heard. He got out of the car again, and this time walked straight to the front door. He raised his hand to knock, then stopped. Through the door, he heard another voice. An older woman. Girls, you need to eat something. You can't keep punishing yourselves like this. Michael's hand dropped. Girls? Who else was in there? He tried the doorknob. It turned. The door opened. And what he saw made every terrible theory in his mind evaporate in an instant. The living room was small and cluttered with medical equipment. A hospital bed sat in the center, and in it lay a woman in her 60s, thin and pale, connected to an oxygen tank. Sarah sat on one side of the bed, holding the woman's hand. Emily sat on the other, and between them, on the nightstand, was a framed photograph of the three of them, younger, smiling, arms wrapped around each other. The older woman in the bed was looking up at Sarah with eyes full of love and sadness. You should be with your husband right now, sweetheart. Not here with me. Sarah shook her head, tears streaming down her face. I couldn't leave you. Not tonight. Not after everything. Michael stood frozen in the doorway. The older woman noticed him first. Her eyes widened slightly, then softened. You must be Michael. Sarah's head snapped up. Her face went white. Michael, I can explain. But Emily spoke first, her voice steady. This is Sarah's mother. She's dying. Stage 4 cancer. She has maybe 2 weeks left. Michael felt the ground shift beneath him. Sarah's mother. The woman Sarah told him had passed away years ago. The woman whose memory Sarah never spoke about, whose photographs were never on display, whose name made Sarah change the subject every time it came up. You said she was dead, Michael whispered. Sarah stood, her whole body shaking. I know. I lied. I've been lying for 2 years. Sarah's mother, Catherine, had abandoned Sarah when she was 15. Just left one day with no explanation, no goodbye, no contact for over a decade. Sarah built a life without her, convinced herself she didn't need a mother who didn't want her. Then, 6 months before the wedding, Emily tracked Catherine down. Found her living alone, sick, with no one to care for her. She called Sarah, asked her to come, and Sarah went. Not because she forgave her mother, but because she couldn't live with herself if she didn't. For 6 months, Sarah had been visiting her mother in secret, paying for her care, sitting with her through treatments, listening to apologies she wasn't sure she could accept. She didn't tell Michael because she didn't know how. How do you explain that the woman who destroyed your childhood is dying and you're the only one who can save her? How do you admit that you're spending your savings on someone you're supposed to hate? Emily had been helping her, covering for her, supporting her through every impossible decision. And tonight, on their wedding night, Catherine had taken a turn. The doctors said it could be the end. So Sarah came. Because forgiveness isn't about forgetting. It's about choosing love over pain, even when it hurts. Michael crossed the room and knelt beside Sarah. He took her hand. You should have told me. Sarah nodded, crying. I know. I was scared. Scared you'd think I was broken. Scared you'd leave. Michael pulled her close. I married you for better or worse. This is the worse. And I'm not going anywhere. He looked at Catherine. Nice to meet you. I'm sorry it took this long. Catherine smiled, tears in her eyes. Take care of her. She's stronger than she thinks. 2 weeks later, Catherine passed away peacefully with Sarah and Emily by her side. Michael was there too. And at the funeral, Sarah finally introduced her mother to the world, not as the woman who left, but as the woman who came back. Because sometimes the hardest person to forgive is the one who hurt us most. And sometimes love means showing up even when every part of you wants to run away. What would you have done in Michael's shoes? Would you have confronted Sarah immediately, or waited to understand the full story? Have you ever had to forgive someone who hurt you deeply? How did it change you? And what would you do if you discovered your partner was hiding something this big, something this painful, on the most important day of your life? Would you see it as a betrayal or an act of love? These are the questions that keep us up at night, the moments that define who we are and what we're willing to fight for. Sarah chose forgiveness. Michael chose trust. And together, they learned that real love isn't about perfect beginnings. It's about showing up when everything falls apart. If this story moved you, if it made you think, drop a comment below. Tell us your story. And if you want more real, raw, emotional journeys that make you feel something deep, subscribe so you never miss what's coming next. Because the next story might just be the one that changes how you see everything. Trust us, you won't want to miss it.